and in this video, I did film this a moment ago, and I don't know what's wrong with me today. I just can't seem to organise my videos properly. But it ran out of me, so I'd like to do it again. I just want to quickly review. This is probably I'm probably going to have to come back to this next week, because I don't really have time to go into some detail, I don't think. But another book I've read recently is called Stim, an autistic anthology, edited by Lizzie Huxley-Jones. I'll just read to you what it says on the back. It says, "Who do you picture when you think of an autistic person? Around 1 in 100 people in the UK are autistic, and the saying goes that if you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. Autistic people's personalities, differences and experiences outweigh the diagnostic criteria that link them, yet stereotypes persist and continue to inform a fundamental misunderstanding of what it is to be autistic. Rarely do autistic people get a chance to speak for themselves, but this insightful and eye-opening collection of essays, fiction and visual art showcases the immense talents of 18 of the world's most exciting autistic writers and artists." Okay, so that's just a little bit of what it says on the back. I was a little bit disappointed with the book because it was not quite what I thought it would be, because I was expecting more in a way of like autobiographical pieces about autistic people's lives, like in the background to get autism and things like that, and their interests and just a bit about their lives really, whereas the book didn't quite meet my expectations and didn't really go into enough detail for my liking. So a little bit disappointing, but that said, there were some things in there that were of interest nevertheless. So it started by Lizzie Huxley-Jones, an autistic woman. She tweeted that she wanted to see an anthology of autistic voices, and she got a reply from Julia Kingsford, the publishing powerhouse. It makes me wonder what would happen if I put on Twitter that I would like to write a book about my experiences of being autistic, and would anyone reply? Maybe I should try it. The first essay is written by Rachel Lucas, an autistic woman who's also an author. She wrote The State of Grace, which is a novel with an autistic character, which I have read and I have got. She got married young. She had her first child in the late 20s, and I think she has 4 children now. 2 of her children had differences, but because her oldest is a girl, it took a bit longer for her oldest child to get her diagnosis. Because when she read an article on autism, it didn't mention girls, which kind of put her off the scent a bit. Her other 2 kids are obviously non-autistic. She got divorced, and then she met her new husband after moving house, and the new school agreed that her daughter was likely autistic, and she realised her own issues were similar to her daughter, and so she was diagnosed at the same time as her 13-year-old daughter, which seems to be quite a common experience. I couldn't really relate to that article because there's no way in living hell I can do those things. I don't know how to flirt. I don't even really know how to make friends. I'm still learning how to make friends. And it's unfathomable to me how you can actually get a relationship, because I can't read signs. I have no idea if someone's interested in me. I don't know the mechanics of flirting. I have no idea how it works. I still feel like a child in that respect. So it's a completely different landscape. I don't really understand how autistics can do it, but it just goes to show that all autistic people have different issues, I guess, and some people find it easier than others, quite clearly. But I couldn't really relate to that one. The next article is written by someone called Nell Brown, who was diagnosed aged 29 and she's now 31. In this article I found the most interesting because she talks about special interests. She brings up the autism spectrum quotient, which is a screening tool devised by Simon Baron-Cohen. It's not used for diagnosis, but it's used for screening, and she was referred to the autism specialist based on her answers to it. She said that she's struck by its focus on particular subjects and ways of spending time. For example, she had to say if she was fascinated by dates and numbers, or if would rather go to a theatre or a museum, party or library. But she's not taken with much of the so-called autistic topics. For example, maths, trains, Star Trek, dinosaurs, all these things that are often kind of stereotyped as autistic. Because all of her interests have been very people-based. She became obsessed with Taylor Swift. Previously, she was obsessed with Freddie Mercury and John Lennon, etc., and she listened to their songs on repeat. Her internal world was filled with cinematic fantasies of friendships with her icons, or to find out about someone with an actual connection to the musician. And I can really relate to this because I was really obsessed with the actress Kate Winslet for 10 years. And my whole internal world was filled with fantasies of Kate Winslet and meeting up with Kate Winslet and I even wrote a letter to Kate Winslet. I didn't get a reply, but I was absolutely obsessed with her, and I would find out about everyone who had a connection to her as well. You know, I found out about her whole family, everything. So I could really relate to that, and I also, just like this author, I would read interviews and books and would find out new topics to learn about connected to Kate Winslet, just like she did with Taylor Swift. She says that she didn't talk about them or share them at school or anything like that, neither did I. I was very secretive about my interests, but I would talk about them non-stop at home because I would involve my parents in my interests, because I just assumed that if I was thinking about something, that they would be thinking about exactly the same thing as me, because I find it really difficult to separate other people's thoughts from my own, and I still have this problem to this day. Although now I know intellectually that other people do think differently to me, I still find it very hard on an emotional level to really understand it. So, but particularly when I was a teenager, I really did live this extremely egocentric world where literally if I was obsessed with something, I couldn't understand why my parents wouldn't be interested in it either. So I would want to involve them in my obsession, because like I would literally like they would almost everything I thought about Kate Winslet, I would just assume that they would think about her too, because I didn't really understand at all how anyone could think anything differently to me. But I didn't talk about it at school or anything like that. She talks about how these days she's fascinated by fandom, and I've never joined a fandom. When I was obsessed with Kate Winslet, the internet didn't have as many fan sites as it does currently, so I don't know if it would be any different if I was obsessed with Kate Winslet today. But it was very much just a one-person thing for me. I was my own fandom. I didn't really want to share my interest with other people or to like form relationships with other people based on an interest in Kate Winslet. There's one girl I met at school who went to a lunchtime club that I was encouraged to go to try and socialise, who also was interested in Kate Winslet, but I didn't really talk about it to her or develop a friendship with her around it, because I was that wasn't the intent of my interest. It was very much